Good evening and welcome to the Nightly News, brought to you by St. Rose Television at the College of St. Rose. Today is October 22nd, 2018. I'm David Meister.
And I'm Leanne DeMartino. Let's get into tonight's news. Tonight we will be talking about this past Sunday's open house, the City of Albany's Cash for Coats campaign, the benefit dinner for Quail Street fire survivors, Sabor Latino's Dias de los Muertos celebration, Ignited for a Cause, St. Rose Sports, and we'll take a look at some popular movies.
This past Sunday, St. Rose held an open house for prospective students and their families. This event included an admissions presentation and a tour of the campus. Visits to the college provide a chance for prospective students to get the full St. Rose experience and welcome them to our community.
With the temperatures dipping into the 50s and 40s, the City of Albany is kicking off the 11th year of their Cash for Coats campaign. Founded in 2007 by Albany Mayor Jerry Jennings, the inspiration for the campaign follows back to 2007 when Jennings was driving to work and saw two children walking to school without any coats. In partnership with Lodge's Department Store and the Yanali family, the city will select 4 out of its 8 highest need elementary schools to receive winter coats.
The First Lutheran Church of Albany raised over $2,000 during a community benefit dinner to help victims of the Quail Street fire last month. A large grease fire broke out on the street, displacing a total of 80 residents and destroying 13 buildings. Approximately 200 people showed up to support families who were affected.
On October 17th, Sabor Latino, St. Rose's Latino student organization, celebrated Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos is a primarily Mexican celebrated holiday that is celebrated on November 1st. The celebration included traditional Mexican decor, dancing, group dance lessons, face painting, and food for sale.
On Tuesday, October 23rd, pink and purple ribbons for Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Awareness Months will be for sale outside of the Camelot Room in the EAC. Ignited for a Cause will be selling the ribbons from noon to 1 p.m.
Now let's go to SRTV's meteorologist, Lauren Kaszuba, to tell us what to expect for weather for the rest of the week. Here's to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Leanne. So on Monday, it will be cloudy with a high of 48 and a low of 39. Tuesday, it'll rain with a high of 55 and a low of 41. Wednesday, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 49 and a low of 35. Thursday, it'll be partly cloudy with a low of 44, or a high of 44 and a low of 27, excuse me. On Friday, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 45 and a low of 31. On Saturday, it'll have like rain, some snow, you know, with a high of 45 and a low of 38, and on Sunday it'll rain with a high of 47. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Let's get into this week in sports. The women's soccer team was at home last Tuesday to take on the Adelphi Panthers, and they won 2-1. They look to record another victory on Sunday against the Malloy Cougars and pitched a 2-0 shutout. The team is now 12-3-2 with 2 games left to go on the season and will travel to take on the Pace Setters on Wednesday. The men's soccer team also had a match against Adelphi last week on Wednesday, but they were shut out 2-0. They then traveled on Saturday to take on the Southern New Hampshire Penmen, but lost a close one, 1-0. The 2 losses set the team back to 7-6-1 and will be on the road again tomorrow to take on the Southern Connecticut State Owls. Finally, in women's volleyball, the team had a 2-game homestand last week on Friday and Saturday. First up was a match against the Merrimack Warriors, which St. Rose swept 3-0. The win extended their win streak to 3. They then looked to make it 4 in a row in Game 2 of the homestand against the Assumption Greyhounds, and they did just that, winning 3-1. With 5 games left to go on the season, the team is now 15-8 and will embark on a 3-game road trip beginning tomorrow in Springfield, Massachusetts against the American International Yellow Jackets. And that's all for sports this week. And do you enjoy movies? Not sure what to watch? Take a look at this episode from SRTV's movie reviewer Alan Hills as he discusses Incredibles 2.
Hi, I'm Alan Hills, and welcome to the College of St. Rose's movie review show, A Night at the Movies, brought to you by the campus production club St. Rose Television. Let's cut to the chase. Summer 2018's greatest and most satisfying blockbuster, Incredibles 2, will be available on digital tomorrow and on Blu-ray November 6th. Out of all the great blockbusters that came out last summer, this one I truly enjoyed the most. Needless to say, the 14-year wait really paid off. So let's get to it, as we have some very special guests following my brief review of Incredibles 2. As I said before, sequels following the first film of a franchise are usually terrible, but Incredibles 2 is somehow a genuine Pixar masterpiece. Returning writer and director Brad Bird did not try to change anything, but instead used improved repetitions that were well thought and truly unexpected. The comedy is especially groundbreaking. Both familiar and new faces fill the movie with the same kind of clever, humorous charm that we all loved in the first film. Michael Giacchino's incredibly jazzy musical score continues to be sophisticated and cunning enough for the film's 1960s aesthetic. While the action and explosions are not as grand as the first one, the thrills are still nothing short of exciting. So please be sure to watch Incredibles 2 if you are by chance not among the billions of people that have seen it already. It's a truly awesome movie that successfully proves one essential fact of life: comebacks are sweet. Now let's move on to our special guests. One of them is a communications major here at the College of St. Rose and one of SRTV's newest members, Lincoln Murphy. Our other guest is a longtime member of the club as well as the newly elected vice president. Returning to the show to discuss Incredibles 2 for a second time is the one, the only Juancito, the Cheeto, Monegro. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. This is so awesome to be here together discussing this movie. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on again.
And Lincoln, it's so great to have you too.
Yeah.
First time on the show, right?
Yeah.
So, Incredibles 2. I enjoyed it so much out of all the movies this summer because, you know, we waited 14 years and it successfully satisfied us all. I mean, what part of it did you guys find most special? Like any particular moments that you liked that made it work? What do you guys think?
I'm finding it hard to think of one thing in particular that stood out because it was all amazing. And
I mean, overall, I felt that the whole movie was just a blast of the past.
It was.
For somebody that, as I said before,
Right.
was very involved with it in Incredibles 1, coming to Incredibles 2, I had all the same feelings. They were making a lot of references to the older crowd.
Right.
Everything about that style, the nostalgia feel, I guess you can say,
Yeah, special.
that was being hit in all the right places. I felt that using the same time frame was a
Right.
good choice on their part, because if they didn't use the same time frame, we would have had too much of a gap. And
Yeah, way too much of a gap.
Yeah, it would have felt like two different movies just in the same universe rather than just a sequel, which was good. I did appreciate that part.
Yeah, I like how they kept it that way. Yeah, none of the kids are grown up. It takes place right after the first one, and that's the reason why it worked. And though most of the plot lines were new, it still felt familiar in some way. You know, and that's what was most satisfying about the movie. And what did you think of? I thought that the comedy was especially hilarious since, you know, Elastigirl's the one being the hero while Bob's got to watch the kids. Those moments I found, like, particularly hilarious. Don't you agree?
I definitely do, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, for the most part, I found that the humor with it, like I said, came very with the crowd that was coming back. To be completely honest, if it wasn't for this being Incredibles 2, and we had the same amount of jokes and in the same style, and in fact, just the overall plot of the story with how the antagonist was shown, and without spoiling anything, how that ended up, I felt like it was very generic in that fashion, and the only reason that it had such a high rating was because it was the sequel to one of the most waited for movies, stuff like that. Right. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, with the comedy and with bringing back the characters and bringing everybody on kind of a flip side, with Elastigirl being the main, that gave it a different flair, I guess you can say, for the movie that I did appreciate. But then again, it's because I was somebody that returned.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have, guys. Thank you again. It's been incredibly fun, pun intended.
not a problem.
Once again, I'm Alan Hills, and this has been A Night at the Movies. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.
Thanks. That's all we have for the nightly news this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Leanne DeMartino.
And I'm David Meister.
And I'm Lauren Kaszuba.
For more information on any of our stories, take a look at the Chronicle, the St. Rose newspaper, both in print and online. See you next week.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for watching this week's edition of the Nightly News on Facebook Live. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe to our page.
Stay classy, Albany.